Hey YouTube, this is 13 Dragonblade, aka Itachi13, coming at you with a segment called Make the Underworld Fear You, or as I like to call, The Fear of the Underworld. Very short, very simple explanations on how Dark Worlds work, and I will be going into some big issues because this deck is quite annoying. And I'll be also be posting up segments to have more hating the meta stuff against this deck. It's actually very basic to deal with this deck, but first we're going to talk about the main basic cards, and that's Gratha, Snow, and Brow. These three cards single-handedly make the deck run perfectly. Why, you ask? Well, let's take a look at what they do. First one I'm going to go over is simply Gratha. Gratha is completely unfair. It is an annoying card. When it's discarded by a card effect, either by you or your opponent, you blow a card up on the field. If it's discarded by your opponent, you take a look at one card in their hand. If it was a monster, special summon it to your side of the field. And its other effect, which is really annoying, you can bounce a Darkhold on the field to special summon him from the graveyard, which means he can easily be squeezed from the graveyard. He does popping, and he gives you a monster. So he has very unfair effects, very unfair card. And then we have Snow, which is ridiculous. She not only gives you a monster when your opponent discards her, but the other effect is absolutely ridiculous. She can search out any Dark World card, including herself. So that means Brow, that means Gratha, that means the field spell, that means her. And you could just re-abuse her for the sake of doing it. And knowing most Dark World players, they will go through their hand and easily get draw power, because this deck's draw power is rather insane if you do it at the right rate. And he only improves it because he gives the deck more draw power. Basically, he makes every card and Dark World dealings a pot of greed for you, essentially. So, that's why he's good. And of course, he's a tour guide target because he's a 3-star fiend. So, that's the reason why these cards start up the main engine, because this deck has a lot of twisty-turny cards that make it annoying. And we're going to also talk about some other cards that are chosen for the deck. We have Beige, which is the other Dark World you run. We have Gold, and we have Silva. These are all good cards. The reason? When they're discarded, they special themselves. These can be used to make rank 5s. This guy could be used to make rank 4s, as well as synchroing for 8. If you use Fabled Raven, it's just stupid how many combos that this deck can pull off, and it's all done by these measly little cards. A lot of people don't even like the monsters, and I'm just like, this deck has such syringy. These two become 26 beaters under the field spell. This becomes a 19 beater under the field spell. Running over Thunder King is not really a problem because they can just bounce it for Gratha, and then if the Thunder King wants to negate the inherit summon, be the guest, because they are not going to care if their Gratha gets stopped. They're just that annoying. And then we got this guy, who's very annoying, and got placed in Dark Worlds because it basically recycled the Dark monsters. And because it's like, oh, I'm going to banish my Snow, I'm going to banish my Brow, all my stuff, and then when he dies, I'm just going to get him back to my hand, because Trance Archfiend's just that good. And he becomes a 2k beater when you discard a Fiend monster. And then he also becomes a 23 beater at most because of the field spell. So that's rather annoying. And then, of course, you have to run this because this gives you draw power, starts off your engine, makes your Trance Archfiends worth something. You have to also run, sorry for that glare, let me move them up a little bit, 3 Dark World dealings and 3 of the gates, because the gates is what you need to get for more draw power. Then you need this for more draw power because this deck cannot draw enough, apparently, and you just gotta set it up. And the tech that a lot of people don't really like to run, but I do, is Dark World Lightning instead of MSTs, because MSTs are good, but this card activates the Dark World's effects, so why not use it? And it's like an MST, it gets rid of face-down cards, and it's not just for spells and traps, it can be for monsters. And then this card, I think that it works with Dark Worlds, but I have to take a fresh look at it. It's called Mind Pollutant. It is a quick play, no, it's just a regular rare spell card. Came out from Abyss Rising. Discard one monster to target one monster of that level and your opponent controls and take control of that monster until the end phase. So basically, it's a Tragodia and a spell card. The reason why I say it, though, is because the discarding mechanism. I'm thinking about taking it out once I realize if it's worth anything, but if you guys want to look at it, try looking it up on the ruling for it, because it's called Mind Pollutant, again. And then, of course, this also allows you to run fun cards like this. And we all know how good these cards are. Especially this one. This card just makes this deck explode with combos. Then we have Allure, which banishing does not matter, and Foolish Burial for that Grapha. Just if you can't really discard it, you send it to the graveyard. And I don't have it yet, but it's dragged down to the grave. It is an annoying card. Look at your opponent's hand, or each player looks at each other's hands. You discard one card from it, and they both draw one card. So it not only minuses them a card they need, and pluses you, because you set all of your stuff when you activate this. And it's just a dick move, if you think about it. You set all your stuff, and then you use this, and your opponent just is like, what the hell? Then we have some more text. We have Skill Drain, because in this deck it means nothing. All of the Dark World's effects happen in the graveyard, and their field spell makes them 26 to 3k beaters if you're talking Grapha. And it also allows you to run these two fun cards, Eradicator Epidemic, Deck Devi, stuff like that. And you can even put Mind Crush in here, just because Drag Down to the Grave is worth something. This deck allows you to run a lot of fun manipulating cards and annoy your opponent. And then lastly, you run the Reckless Greed, because Reckless Greed, I need to get my hands on another one. It just gives this deck draw power. And also, might I add, Heretic players might actually like to use this over the other card that I have, which is, I like to take it in there. It's One Day of Peace. But if you want to go more aggro with the deck, use Reckless Greed. Anyways, now we're going to go quickly into a side deck choice that I always side in for Dark Worlds. And it's either Gemini Imps, DD Crow, or if you can't get your hands on either of those, here's a good card to side in for them. He special summons himself when he's discarded by your opponent's card effect only. Remember that. And he is a 25 beater. When he's special summoned, you can destroy either, it is basically a Dark Hole or a Heavy Storm to them. It's a Raigeki or a Harpy's Feather Dust to them, I'm sorry. And it's an annoying beater. So basically it comes out saying, oh, hey, I'm going to Raigeki your field, I'm going to Harpy's Feather Dust to your field, and attack you for 25, and you can't do anything about it. An annoying card, it really is, and it's actually been seeing some play on some people's side deck because I realize how good it is. Anyways, Ruffutatsu13 signing off.